Airframe welding. What type of weld joint must be used to weld magnesium? Butt welds. Why must all flux be removed from the metal after welding magnesium? Any flux left on the metal will result in severe corrosion. What must be done in order to successfully weld titanium? The weld zone must be shielded with an inert gas such as helium or argon. What is gas shielded arc welding? A gas is used as a covering shield around the arc to prevent the atmosphere from contaminating the weld. What are the advantages of gas shielded arc welding? It results in a stronger, more ductile, and more corrosion resistant weld. What shielding gases are used for gas tungsten arc, TIG welding, helium, and argon? What is an advantage of electric arc welding over gas welding? It causes less buckling and wrapping of the welded material. What determines the amount of heat that will be applied to the work when welding by oxyacetylene method? Size of the tip opening. What is meant by soft flame? A soft flame is when the torch is adjusted so the flame makes no noise and doesn't push the weld puddle. When gas welding, what should be turned off first? First, shut off the acetylene and then the oxygen. What will be the result of using a torch tip that is too large or too small? If the tip is too large, the heat will be too great and the holes may be burned in the middle. If the torch tip is too small, the heat provided may not be enough to produce penetration to the proper depth, causing low strength weld. How do you determine the correct size filler rod to be used in welding? The diameter of the rod to be used is governed by the thickness of the metal being joined. What is the function of flux when used in soldering? Flux erodes corrosion from the surface of the metal when it is heated so that the solder can form a strong bond. Why must acid core solder never be used on an electric wire? Any acid flux that is left over will cause severe corrosion to the wire. What is brazing? Brazing is a metal joining process in which the bonding material is a non-ferrous metal with a melting point lower than that of the metals being used. What procedure will control expansion when welding a joint? By tack welding at intervals along the joint. Why is it especially desirable to use a soft flame when welding aluminum? To avoid blowing holes in metal when the puddle is formed. What fuel is used for gas welding aluminum? Oxygen and hydrogen. What is the purpose of using flux when welding aluminum? Aluminum and its alloys combine with air and form oxides very rapidly. And oxides form doubly fast if the metal is hot. What is the maximum safe pressure for acetylene gas when welding? When acetylene gas is compressed in a container to a pressure greater than 15 psi, it becomes dangerously unstable. At 29.4 psi, it becomes explosive on a slight shock. How can dents at a steel tube cluster joint be repaired? Weld a specially formed steel patch over the dented area. What type of flame should be used when silver soldering? The flame should be a soft neutral. What is the procedure for preparing metal fuel tank for welding? The interior of the tank should be washed with hot water and detergent and then steamed for a minimum of 30 minutes. When splicing tubing by the inner sleeve method, what method can be used to insert a tight-fitting inner sleeve into the replacement tube? The inner sleeve can be chilled with dry ice or in cold water, and the outer sleeve can be heated. This will allow for a tighter fit repair. Why is flux used on silver solder? It cleans the base metal of oxide to ensure a good bond. What are the three general types of welding? Gas, electric arc, and electric resistance. How is a soft flame obtained without reducing thermal output? By using a large tip and adjusting the pressure. What valve should be turned off first when extinguishing a torch? The acetylene to allow gas and the tip to burn out. What must be done with heat-treated aluminum alloys after welding after a welding repair has been made? They must be reheat treated. What is the preferred method of welding magnesium? Gas shielded arc welding. What is the most extensively used method of welding aluminum? Gas shielded arc welding. What safety precautions should be taken when gas welding has been completed? Turn off the valves and relieve all pressure. What is the result of insufficient penetration? A low strength weld. What does the size of the torch tip opening determine? The amount of heat, not the temperature.